But it's pretty much, it's 9:29. Oh, we're good. Hey, everybody. We're going to get started in like another minute or so. We're just waiting for people to join. If you loved class and you want to make a little donation to Urbanome, make sure you go to their website and look at the Urbanome at Home page for info about how to send through a donation for the studio. And we'll get started, and actually, it's 9:30, so wait, we'll make like a minute? Okay.
You want to do a chant?
Yeah, we can, I'll do chant. I'll just chant until we're ready to get started. We'll hold a couple minutes before people are joining. So that was the Mrityunjaya mantra. It's a sort of powerful healing mantra, which I've been chanting a lot lately. And I'll chat with you guys for a second before we get started. So this is going to be a 60-minute vinyasa flow. I'm Anna, if I haven't met you before. We actually were holding a virtual teacher training meeting last night and talking through the Yoga Sutras, Book 1. And one of the sutras in Book 1 is about how to establish a firmly grounded practice, and the answer in the sutras is in all earnestness for a long time. That's the answer that you get. And sometimes I think when we are sort of looking for definitive answers and none are around, it can feel scary and uncertain. And one of the tools that we have during those times is to just attend to the things that we can attend to. And so our yoga practice is one of those things that we can continue to dive into and can continue to support and sustain us. And so we're going to work a little bit today on back bending. We're going to work to kind of reach behind us, which is always a nice challenge for shoulders. Reaching behind, we don't get to do very often. And reaching behind, rather than like grabbing onto the foot and holding onto it, reaching behind and sort of resisting that urge to find the foot and let the process end and sort of be in process and kind of reach into the unknown and not knowing what you might find. So that being said, let's take a minute to have a comfortable seat, and we'll just kind of center together for a few breaths. So any comfy seat, hands can rest wherever you'd like them to. The eyes can float closed, or they can just remain soft and open. Start with a few breaths here. And let the breath just move as it likes to move. So full and unhurried. You don't have to worry about taking a deep breath. Just let it move how it wants to move. Starting to notice how the physical body feels. What you need to take care of and be aware of as you practice this morning. The feeling of the breathing, moving the body. Where your mind and your heart are this morning. And nothing, again, needs to change. Just being a witness to what's present. So go ahead and take your hands together in prayer at the heart and start to think about an intention for yourself for this time together. And offer that intention up. And I hope you're not afraid to om wherever you are. We'll open together with the sound of 3 ohms. Taking a deep breath in. Oh eyes float open. Let's shift up to hands and knees. I'm going to move this out of the way. Hands under your shoulders, knees under your hips. If you have blocks handy, just set them at the front edges of your space. And hands under the shoulders, knees under the hips, toes untucked, tops of the feet touching down. Start your playlist if you haven't already. On your inhale, drop your belly. Roll open through the shoulders, tilt the hips up, take a look up for cow. And on your exhale, round your spine, tuck under your tailbone and drop your head for cat. Next inhale, back open to cow. And next exhale, round to cat. Take yourself through a few more of these on your own and start to work through any movement that feels good. So feel free to go a little bit more free form. Feel free to let the eyes close if that's helpful. And let the breath start to sync up with the movement. Feel like the breath is leading the movement. And we'll take maybe 1 or 2 more breaths to start to find our way back toward a child's pose, drawing the hips back to the heels and stretching long through the arms. Let the forehead release down to the mat. Take some breaths through the back body. And then start to swim your arms along by your sides and start to just pick the arms up. So you're reaching them above or behind the line of the back, feeling what muscles wake up there when you do that. And we'll lower and do that 2 more times, letting the arms rise. You can play with palms facing up, pinkies facing up, thumbs facing up, and then lower. And 1 more time, let the arms rise. Wake up that midline of the back. Play with, again, where the hands are facing. And lower. Then go ahead and stretch the arms forward again. And walk your hands over to the right diagonal. Root a little bit more into the left hip and breathe along the left side. So breathing into the left shoulder blade, along the left ribs, into the low left back. Walk back through center, reach out to the left diagonal, root into the right hip. And breathe along the right side, into the shoulder, into the ribs, along the back. Walk back through center. Space the fingers out evenly. Root into the fingertips, prince, tuck under the toes on an inhale and exhale to lift the hips to down dog. Take a minute here to move a bit, pedal out the legs, let the hips shake out the head. And as you're ready, start a slow walk to the top of the mat. Take your time getting there. And when you get to the top of the mat, walk the feet to about your hips distance. Soft through the knees, hold on to opposite elbows, let the head hang. You can sway a little bit side to side. And shift forward and back a few times. From there, release your elbows, bring your hands to your hips, and take a nice, slow, long roll up to stand. Once you're up to standing, let the hands come together in prayer at the heart. And we'll hook the thumbs, palms facing forward. Take a little scoop through chair. Straighten the legs, rise up and stretch back a little bit. And as you exhale, circle the hands behind you, clasp them behind you, and bow over the legs. The knees can bend to any amount. Releasing your hands, touch the fingertips down or press the shins, rise halfway up. If you've got your blocks, you can hang on to them. Otherwise, the hands touch down to the floor. Touch back the left toe, settle into the hips, look a little bit forward. And then as you exhale, lift up the hips and lengthen both legs. And we'll do that twice more. Inhaling as you bend the front knee. Exhale as you lift. Inhale, bend. And exhale, lift. Start to bend into that right knee. Release the left knee down. Untuck the left toes and reach or press your hands to the top of the right knee. Reach the arms up. Start to circle your hands behind you, interlace. See if you can get the palms to touch. Feel the shoulder blades draw a little closer. Gentle lift of the heart. And as you exhale, release that. Shift the right foot a little further forward. Turn to the heel, toes turning up. Inhale to sit up a little taller. And exhale to bow over the leg. Take a breath there. And then with your inhale, lift away from the leg. Pull that right leg back and float it in the air. So you've got supported side plank. Float that leg, bend the knee, reach the foot behind you, and just lightly touch your hand to the foot. So the foot is kind of pressing into the hand and you're not holding the foot. From there, release and step your way into a plank pose, top of a push-up. You can always place the knees down if you'd like 2 extra points of support. With your exhale, bend the elbows so they point back and lower to the belly. Flip to the tops of the feet, hands alongside the ribs. Inhale, lift for a little baby cobra. And exhale as you lower. Inhale, lifting again. You can lift a little higher if you'd like. Exhale as you lower. The third inhale can be another cobra, or you can press your arms straight for up dog. And as you exhale, lift your hips, find a down dog. Take a breath or 2, move around a little bit. On your next inhale, lift to tiptoes, look forward, and with your exhale, you can either walk or hop to the top of the mat. Coming to the fingertips or pressing the shins, inhale, rise halfway. And exhale, fold a little deeper. Hook the thumbs, take a little bend through the knees, rise up to stand, stretch back. And with your exhale, dive forward again, clasping the hands behind you. Let the knees bend if you need to, let the head go. Release your hands. Inhale to rise halfway. And again, if you want to have blocks under your hands, grab them. Touch back the right toes, settle into the hips, look a little forward. And as you exhale, lift up the hips, lengthen the legs. Inhale to bend the knee. Exhale to lift up the hips, lengthen the legs. Inhale, bend. And exhale, lengthen. Bend the left knee, release the right knee down. Untuck the right toes, walk up to the top of the left knee. Reach the arms up. Circle into the space behind you. Reach into that space you can't see. Interlace. Middle of the back wakes up. Reach through the knuckles, lift the heart a little bit more. And then release your hands. You can have them on the block or on the floor. Hips shift back, left foot wiggles forward. Turn to the heel. Sit up a little bit taller. And then bow a little closer to the legs. See if you can let your head relax for a sec. You could even close your eyes if you wanted to. Lift away from the leg. Start to draw that left leg back. And you're going to step it into that supported side plank. I'm going to shift on my mat. And float the leg into the air right away. From there, the knee will bend and you'll reach back behind you. Resist the urge to hold the foot and keep that active connection to the foot pressing into the hand. So you should feel the hamstring light up. And then release. Step your way into plank. Feel free to put down your knees to add on a little bit of support. And as you exhale, you can lower halfway down and hover or to the belly. Inhale, choose either cobra or up dog. And then we meet in down dog. And you take a couple breaths, move around a little bit more. On your inhale, lift to tiptoes, look forward. On your exhale, you're either walking or hopping up. On your inhale, rise halfway. And exhale, fold. Hook the thumbs, take a little bend through the knees, rise to stand. Stretch a little back. And exhale, dive forward over your legs. Clasp your hands behind you. Release your hands, inhale to rise halfway. And this time as you exhale, walk back to plank. Take an inhale in your plank. And exhale, lower half or all the way down. Inhale your choice of cobra or up dog. And exhale to down dog. And see if you can find around 3 deep breaths here. Soften through the inner edges of the shoulders so the muscles around the neck are easy. Feel the breath moving as you turn your torso upside down. Notice how it feels different when you're upside down. Take 1 more breath. On your inhale, lift to tiptoes, look up. On your exhale, walk or hop up. On your inhale, rise halfway. And exhale, fold in. Hook the thumbs, take a little bend through the knees. Rise to stand. Exhale, dive forward, clasp your hands behind you. Release your hands, inhale, rise halfway.
One exhale, walk back and lower yourself, or hop back and land halfway down. Inhale, cobra or up dog. And exhale, down dog. Find a few deep breaths here, around 3 deep breaths. And as you're ready, inhale, lift to tiptoes, take a look up. Exhale, push off the toes to walk or hop up. Inhale, rise halfway. Exhale, fold. Starting to find this rhythm. Inhale, hook the thumbs, bend the knees, rise up. Exhale, dive forward. Clasp your hands behind you. Release your hands. Inhale, rise halfway. Exhale, feet go back and you lower, however you're working that. Inhale, your back bend. Exhale, down dog. And a few deep breaths. And we'll flow through 2 more of these on our own. So I'll keep moving, but I won't be talking. And you can move through this however you like. So it's a little bit of time to put your own flavor on this and move like yourself. So whenever you're ready, take a walk or hop forward, and we'll start again for a few more rounds on our own. So let's think about 1 more round of whatever you're working on, and we'll meet in the next down dog you come to. So as you arrive in that down dog in the next 2 to 3 rounds of breath, see if you can feel outer arms hugging toward inner arms, the root of each thumb and each index finger meeting the mat. 1 more breath. On your inhale, lift to tiptoes, look up. On your exhale, walk or hop up. Inhale, rise halfway. Exhale, fold a little deeper. Hook the thumbs, take a little bend through the knees. Rise to stand, and then let's seal that off. Hands to prayer at the heart. Pause, close your eyes if you need to. Find space for a breath. And then when you're ready, start to float your eyes open, feet under the hips, and inhale to chair pose. As you exhale, back the hips up, reach forward, find half chair. Start to catch hold of the left knee. Root into the right foot a little bit more and rise up, bringing the knee with you. And then as you're ready, start to stretch that leg back, land the tiptoes, and reach the arms up, high lunge. So we did this in my other video as well, but it's kind of just my current obsession. Bend the left knee. And first time, just reach your right arm back. Don't worry about reaching it toward the heel, just reach it back. And then you can circle the arm back up. As you exhale, place the hands around the front foot. You can hold on to blocks if you'd like. Lift up the hips, lengthen both legs. And then step your right foot back to meet your left and down dog. Stay there, or if you want to move a little bit, you take a vinyasa. So that's always your choice. Take it or leave it. From down dog, start to reach the right leg into the air. And as you exhale, step the right foot inside of the right hand. Come down to the sole of the back foot. We'll find a warrior 1. So shorter stance than warrior 2. Maybe a slightly wider, more hips width stance as well. Start to circle your hands behind you, interlace them. Reach back through the knuckles, roll back through the shoulder heads, lift the heart. And with your exhale, bow forward, humble warrior. See if you can let your head go. And no matter where your hands are pointing, see if you can work the shoulder blades a little bit closer together. So that can even happen if the elbows are bending and the arms are really close to the back. Take yourself through one more breath here. And on your inhale, rise back up, free the arms. As you exhale, place your hands around your front foot, spin up to the back tiptoes, and step your right foot back to meet your left. So you're in a plank. Walk your right hand a little further forward. Dial to the outer edge of the right foot and stack the left foot on top. You're welcome to place this right knee down if you prefer. Raise the left arm up. And this first time we'll just think about lifting the left leg off of the right. So you could do that here as well. Take one more breath. Lower, you'll be in plank. Again, you can decide if you want to move through a vinyasa or skip it. Take a deep breath, maybe 2. And when you're ready, rise to tiptoes, look forward, and exhale, walk or hop your feet up. Inhale to rise halfway. Exhale to fold. Set your feet up at roughly your hips distance. And inhale to chair. As you exhale, find a half chair. Hold on to your right knee. Root more into your left foot, rise up. Taking the right knee with you. And then start to stretch that right leg back. Land the tiptoes, arms rise up. Put a little bend into the right knee so you're working the quad. And again, just think about reaching that left arm back. Hang on to that for just a moment more. And then you can circle the hand down, forward and up. And then frame the hands around the front foot. Hang on to the blocks if you want them. Lift up your hips, lengthen the legs. Step your left foot back to meet your right. You're in down dog. You can stay and breathe or vinyasa. From your down dog, lift your left leg from the heel and then curl in to step your foot inside of your hand. Back heel down. Again, it's a shorter stance for warrior one. Feet are a little wider apart, side to side. Arms rise. From here, begin to circle your hands behind you. Interlace. Try to interlace the way you're not as used to. Activate between the shoulder blades. And then bow forward, keeping that active back body happening. Let the head go. And take yourself through one more really good breath. Left hip hugging toward your midline, just a little more. On your inhale, rise back up. Free your arms. And on your exhale, place your hands around your front foot. Spin up to your back tiptoes. Step your left foot back to meet your right. You're in plank. And then you spin to the outer edge of the left foot and stack the right foot on top. Your left knee is available. From there, you're just working on floating the right leg off of the left. So that can be done with the left knee on the ground. Taking one more breath in either of these shapes. And then lower, you've got a vinyasa, or you head right to down dog. Take a minute to find a few deep breaths. Reset. Notice how you're feeling. And we'll take this and start to add on and change it around a little bit. So with your next inhale, lift to tiptoes, look forward. And exhale, walk or hop your feet up. Inhale to rise halfway. And exhale to fold in. Set your feet under your hips. Inhale to chair. And exhale to half chair. So hold on to your left knee, root into your right foot. Rise with that knee. Stabilize around the core. No hands. Hands to prayer. We're going to circle this knee around to the side and begin to bend forward. Keep the bend in the knee.
As your heart and crown reach forward, the sole of the left foot presses up to the sky. From there you can press your arms back. And again, just imagine what it would be like if the right hand were to touch the left sole of the foot. Who cares if they actually meet? Good. Stretch back the left toes, land, arms rise. Put a little bend into the left knee. You can continue to just practice reaching that right arm back or back with a tilt. And again, who cares if you actually find your heel? From there, circle the right arm up to meet the left. And then place your hands around your front foot. Lift up your hips, lengthen your legs. Step back to down dog. It can be three-legged dog. It can be a three-legged vinyasa. You can play with chin stand if you want to. And we'll all meet in a down dog. Find a breath. With your next inhale, raise the right leg. And then step the right foot inside of the right hand. Let's come to a warrior two. So this stance can be a little longer than warrior one. Right arm reaches forward, left arm reaches back. Take an inhale and sweep it to peaceful warrior. And then as you exhale, place your right forearm to the top of the right thigh. And swing that left arm up. If you want to go a little up and over, you can. Something a little bit more challenging, maybe float your forearm off of your thigh or reach your hand forward. We'll take one more breath. And then sweep it up to peaceful again. And push your right leg straight. Come on upright, hop your back foot in closer. It's like a step closer. Draw the hips back, lengthen the crown forward. And then your right hand can rest lightly on your lower leg. This is a great opportunity for a block if you have one. But if you don't, just a light landing of the hand. And if you want, again, maybe no hands, maybe you, again, reach out in front of you. And you got one more breath here. Good, rise up, let's take it back to peaceful. And then shifting into the balance so the block can come with. Your hand reaches forward, it goes a little off to the right. Your left leg rises, your left arm rises. And bending your left knee, circle your left hand. Resist the urge to catch the foot. If anything, if you find where the foot is, just press the sole of the foot into the left hand. And you got one more breath wherever you are. Good, big step back. One more peaceful warrior, big inhale. And exhale, cartwheel down around your front foot. So step it into plank. You can place your right knee down. Otherwise, we're stacking left foot on top of right. Floating that left leg. Bend the knee, see if you can reach back and just touch the foot. Find your way out of it. Vinyasa. Or skip it. I'm going to skip it and take an extra breath in my down dog. With your next inhale, lift to tiptoes, look forward, and exhale, take a walk or a hop up. Inhale to rise halfway, and exhale, fold in. Set your feet about hips distance, inhale to chair, and exhale to half chair. Hold on to your right knee, reach your left foot, stand up. Stabilize around the core, front side and back core activating, hands to prayer. Take a slow circle with that right knee. You'll begin to lean forward. Keep the bend in the right knee. Sole of the foot points up. Float the arms back and just think about left hand reaching for the sole of the right foot. Who cares if they find each other? Good. Then stretch back, land the right tiptoes. Arms rise. Took me a minute there to get my balance. Bend your right knee. You can simply work reaching the left fingertips back, or you can give it a little tilt. One more breath. And then both hands around the front foot. Whoops, circle up. Want to be even. And then place your hands around your front foot.
Lift up your hips, lengthen that left leg, and step your left foot back to meet your right. Again, if you want to play with a three-legged dog and a three-legged vinyasa, you can. And we'll meet in down dog. Ground into your two hands, ground into the right foot, raise from the back of the left heel as the leg lifts. Then step your foot forward. We'll take a warrior two. And I'll have my back to you for a little bit. Take a minute, settle in, stretch out, take up some space. Inhale to peaceful. And then place your forearm to your thigh and raise your right arm up. So you can swim that arm a little up and over if you want to. You can play with the left arm just floating off of the leg, or you can reach it in front of you. And we'll take 2 more breaths. On your inhale, rise back up. Take peaceful warrior. Push your left leg long, come upright. Hop your back foot in a little bit. Hips pour back, spine is nice and long. Your left hand can rest lightly on your lower leg, or you can catch that block. Turn the right ribs over the left. Stack the right arm over the left. If it bugs your neck to look up, you can look down or just let your head hang. And if you want to try, you can see about floating that bottom arm to reach out in front of you. And take 1 more breath. Let's rise up and tip it back to peaceful warrior. And as you exhale, shift forward. The block can come along with you. The right leg rises. The inner edge of the front foot is grounding. From there, bend your right knee into the space behind you. Circle your hand into the space behind you. And just see about touching the sole of the foot. Or don't even worry about meeting up the hand and the foot. Just reach. Take 1 more really good breath here. Big step back. 1 more peaceful warrior. And then cartwheel around the front foot. Step into your plank pose. Dial to the left hand and outer left foot. Left knee is available. Start to float the right leg up and see if you can bend and reach behind you. Good. Come on out of that. Take a vinyasa. We'll take a breath or 2 in a child's pose. So that you can just take a minute to reset. Find a couple of fuller breaths. And when you feel ready, inhale to tuck under the toes. And exhale, lift the hips. Down dog. With your next inhale, lift to tiptoes, look forward. And exhale, take a walk or a hop up. Inhale to rise halfway. Exhale to fold a little deeper. Set your feet at about your hips distance. Inhale to chair. And exhale to half chair. So this time you can hold the left knee, or without holding the knee, bring it up with you. See if the arms can reach up. If you want to try, you can send the left leg straight for a moment. And then we'll rebend, turn, lean, bring it to that bent knee warrior 3, and then fly the arms back. And again, you can play with just seeing if you can find the sole of the foot or reaching for it. Stretch back the toes, land them, let the arms rise. Put a bit of a bend into the left knee, right arm can reach back. You can begin to tilt. You might find the heel, don't worry if you don't. Good, circle the right arm back up. Place the hands around the front foot, lift up the hips, lengthen the legs, and then step back to down dog. Could be 3-legged dog, you can play with any vinyasa you like, and we'll meet back in our down dog. On your next inhale, raise your right leg up, and then step your right foot inside of the right hand. Come back to warrior 1, so shorter, little wider stance, side to side, arms rise. Circle your hands behind you, interlace them. Wrap back the shoulders, lift the heart, and then exhale, bow forward for humble. See if you can still feel between the shoulder blades activated. On your inhale, rise back up. Free the arms, push the right leg straight. And then hop the back foot even a tiny bit closer. And we'll start to either catch opposite elbows behind the back or prayer behind the back. So your choice there. Collarbone stretching broad, and then try to bring the front ribs in. So we're keeping front ribs integrated, core is working. Start a nice slow bow forward. And this is one of those moments where we can sort of rush or want to rush to an end point. And the process is really where the good stuff is. So take your time on that bow forward. And for the last few breaths, if you want to release the hands to blocks or your mat and bow in a little bit more, let the head go for it. With your inhale, rise up halfway. A block might be handy here. Otherwise, you can come to the fingertips, and it's fine for the knee to bend. Lift yourself halfway up and start to reach that right arm behind you. So you're waking up that right side body and letting the strength of the right side and the right back start to lead you up to the twist. If you want to continue just to reach back, that's perfect. You got one more really good breath here. Lower through the right hand, soften into the knees. We're going to flip up to the back tiptoes and take it to a three-legged dog. And this should be slightly shorter than your normal dog. So like one handprint closer. And open the hip, bend the knee, and kind of kick that right foot over to the left side of your space. And you can start by just tenting the left fingertips. You can try to reach back and hold the left ankle. We've done this before in class together, and a lot of times people sort of rush to find the foot, but I'd love for you again to try not rushing to that and seeing if you can reach and lightly touch. Woo! And you might fall, that's fine. One more moment to try. And then bring it out to that slightly longer down dog. Feel free to take yourself through a vinyasa or just take a few breaths in your down dog. Okay, just one really good breath here, and then one more time, lift to tiptoes, look forward, and walk or hop your feet up. Inhale to rise halfway, and exhale to fold. Set your feet under your hips one last time, and inhale to chair. As you exhale, find a half chair. So you can, again, hold onto your knee or try without holding the knee. Rise up, bring the knee with you. Hang out here for a breath or two, or maybe try straightening the leg. And then rebend if you've straightened. Turn, lean, kick the sole of the right foot up to the sky, and then swim the arms back and see about just reaching for the sole of the foot. Good. Stretch back, then the tiptoes, arms rise. Put a little bend into that right knee. Just reach back. Reach back with a tilt. Seek that right heel, but don't worry if you don't find it. And then circle it back up. Hands around your front foot. Lift up your hips, lengthen your legs. Step back to down dog or three-legged dog. And then take a vinyasa, whatever you want to work on. A few breaths in down dog is my choice. And with your next inhale, raise the left leg and curl into step the foot inside of the hand. Come back to the warrior one stance, so a little shorter, taking up a little bit more space side to side on your mat. Arms rise. Circle behind you, interlace. Switch up your interlace again if you haven't lately. Reach back, lift the heart, and as you exhale, go forward, humble warrior. Wake up that mid-back. On your inhale, rise back up. Free the arms, push the left leg straight. You can go a little shorter, and then you're going to wrap your arms behind you. So hold on to opposite elbows, hands to prayer, whatever you want. Lift a little bit, but keep those front ribs hugging in, so you should feel the core working, and let this transition time really be what this pose is about. So there's no rush. It's a nice slow fold. You can keep your hands behind your back as long as you want. And then whenever you need to, the hands touch down. You can have the blocks handy. Maybe let the head go. Rising up halfway, the block is a help, so feel free to hang on to it. If you don't have a block, more of a bend in the left knee, come on up to your fingertips. And as you start to lift your upper body, pour back into that right foot and reach your left arm behind you. From there, you can simply reach back, or you can let that reach back start to turn you into the twist. One more breath. Lower your left hand. Spin up to the back tiptoes. So you're already in a shorter stance, so this should bring you into a slightly shorter down dog, but make sure it's a little bit shorter. That'll make your life a bit easier. And the main thing here is to open and kick the foot over to the right. So the knee is not close to you. I could grab my foot super easily if my knee were close to me. The knee is far away from you. Tend to the fingertips. Be in the process, right? So there's no rush to find the foot. And if you do find it, try to avoid holding it and see if you can just press. And take yourself through one more breath. Awesome. Let it go, pedal it out. Lengthen out the down dog. Take a vinyasa. We're going to take a few breaths in a child's pose again. Knees down. Hips back to the heels, finding some deeper breaths. And then let's shift back up to a down dog and lift the right leg up to the sky. As you exhale, bring the right shin to the front of the mat, setting up for pigeon. So your right knee is behind your right wrist. You can inch back the left knee a little bit. If you want to have a block under your hip or even like a pillow or whatever you have handy, that's great. But we will go a little bit more active today, so it's also fine to feel like your hips are just not touching the ground. That's okay. So we'll go forward for a breath, maybe two. And with your very next inhale, come on back up. And again, get that feeling that the legs are pushing the mat away. So the legs are in control of the shape. Your fingertips could touch lightly down, or if you wanted, they could reach up. And then if you want to play a little bit, you can dial back right hand. And again, just reach for the foot. Who cares if you find it? If you do find it, just touch. Again, don't hold. One more breath. And then releasing that, we're going to shift the weight over to the right hip. Swing the left leg in front. Lean back to the hands. You can toss the knees side to side a couple times. And then hands down, feet down. Root all 4 points of that foundation and lift the hips. And then lower. And we'll flow through this a few more times. And it could just be this lift and lower. If you want to start to play, you could use the blocks as you lift. And then as you lower, the hips shoot back. Lifting. You can make some noise. And we'll take 3 more. Here's 2. 1, and then maybe you hold it and see if your legs float even for a second. And don't worry if they don't. Cross your ankles, roll over your feet. You can walk it back, hop it back, take a vinyasa, or simply step back to down dog. And from your down dog, raise your left leg high and bring your left shin forward. So again, your knee lands roughly behind your left wrist, somewhere around there. Inch back the right knee. If you want to have a block underneath your hip, awesome. If your hip's just not on the mat and your legs are a little bit more plugged in, also great. We'll bow forward for just a moment. And with your next inhale, come on back upright. So again, let the legs wake up here, and there should be kind of an upward rising energy to this shape. Your hands can support you. Maybe they go a little light. Maybe they reach up to the sky. And then you can play with what we've been working on, that bend of the knee, the reach back. Maybe you find the foot, maybe you don't. One more breath. And release. Shift over to the left hip. Swing your right leg around and lean back to the hands. Let the knees wash side to side. And from here, we'll start with the tabletop. So knees bending, feet and hands grounding. Lift the hips. If you're pretty good with this tabletop, that's where you're going to stay if you'd like to. This time around, we'll stretch the legs straight. Root into the hands as they're slightly behind the hips. And lift. 3 breaths, holding your tabletop or your reverse plank. Hard to talk and do. I'll do my best. 1 more breath. And lower. Cross the ankles, roll over the feet. Walk it back, hop it back, vinyasa, or skip it. We'll meet in down dog. And from your down dog, inhale, roll forward to plank. And exhale, lower all the way down to the belly. And when you get to the belly, stack the hands, let your forehead rest on your hands. Shift your hips side to side. And start to stretch the left arm out to the left. I like a block for under my head. It just feels nice. It's not necessary. You'll roll to that left side. And the right foot will step behind you. And you can hang out here. You can flip your left palm up to the sky. The right arm can rise. The right arm can drape behind the back. And then if you want to play kind of similarly to how we've been working, this is a little bit less active. So if you wanted to finally catch hold of the foot, now is your moment. And you can even play with leading the foot off to that opposite hand. If you do get there, I love to reach the right hand the opposite way, so it's kind of reaching in my line of vision. So I'm getting a nice twist as well as some hip extension. Take yourself through 2 more breaths wherever you ended up. And then start to release. Swing it back to the belly. Rest on your hands for a moment. You can shake your hips out. Also, sometimes it feels nice if you wave the shins side to side. And we'll try that on the other side. So the right arm reaches out. It should be at or below the line of your shoulder. So don't make this super torturous for your shoulder. Roll. You can rest on a block like I like to do. And this could be it. Just hanging out with the left foot behind the right. You can flip the palm that's behind you to face palm up. Left arm can reach up. It can drape behind the back. You can start to play now with actually holding the foot. And then if you want to, you can begin this process, right, of leading the foot back to the hand. And it doesn't matter if it actually meets the hand. If you do hand off the foot to the right hand, the left hand might play with reaching out in front of you. Take yourself through 2 more good breaths. And then go ahead and release and swing it back to the belly. Whoops, I kicked something. And when you get to the belly, stack your hands, shake your hips out side to side. And we'll come up to Sphinx pose. And this actually might be where you choose to stay. So you're welcome to press the forearms to the mat, draw the shoulders down, face forward, pubic bone rooting down. If you would like to bend the right knee, draw the right forearm diagonally across. Try to avoid shifting your body way off to the right. And then maybe just reaching that left hand back. Same idea, you can press the hand to the sole of the foot if you're just tired of that and you want to hold the foot, that's fine. Put in the strength work and then you get a little stretch. And then we'll switch that. So left forearm drawing diagonally across, picking up the left foot. You might feel that the knee is lifting off the mat, so the sole of the left foot is pressing up to the ceiling already. Right hand reaches back, not a big deal if they don't meet. Maybe they touch. Maybe you decide that now you want to hold the foot. And then come down for a rest, stacking the hands, shake the hips out side to side. And if again you want to hang out in your Sphinx pose one more time, awesome. If you want to take those sort of one-legged cross reaches, great. Otherwise we'll try a couple bow poses. So you'll bend your knees, reach back, interlace your hands, and reach back through the knuckles as you press the soles of the foot to the sky. Your core should be working here, so you should feel belly button lifting away from the mat, sides of the body hugging in, that corset contraction of the core. And lowering to rest, resting in the same way, hips shake side to side. And I'll give you like a minute more to play with bridge in whatever way you want. So you could kind of take it the traditional route. You could do any of the things that we've already done. If you've come to my class before, you know that I love to do this. So you could do this if you wanted to, because it just is so silly. Feels like you're playing, and we all need a little bit of time to play. But take maybe 30 more seconds to work any bridge variations. What's cool about this is that it really shows you that a lot of times the different poses are just a change in what the foundation of the pose is. One more breath. And rest in the same way. Shake out the hips. Breathe broad into your back. You can even turn your toes toward each other. Let the heels go a little wider so you feel that low back broaden. And then bring yourself up to all fours. And if it feels okay to close your eyes, I would say close your eyes, because it's going to look really boring anyway. I just want you to kind of cycle through some micro movements in the spine. So imagining that you're sort of rippling the spine one vertebra at a time, which we can do, we sort of have to learn how to do. But again, it doesn't look very satisfying. It's this really small but important movement, just to understand how all the pieces of the spine work together. And it can feel really nice after you've rested on the belly for a while. And whenever you feel ready, take your knees a little closer. Rock your hips back to your heels for a child's pose with the knees a touch closer. This can round a little bit more, so if you even like to wrap your arms along your sides, you can. And then start to rise up. We'll shift the hips out to one side and send the legs in front. And just take a little Dandasana, so stretching the legs out in front, hands along the sides of the hips. If you have somebody available to basically bring their fists to the tops of your shoulders, then you can get a little Anna hands-on adjustment without me being there. So enlist the help of whoever you're at home with. And then reach the arms to the sky. Any bend in the knees is fine. And bow forward over the legs. And think about opening, broadening the back body. letting the head fall forward, feeling the back of the neck, back of the skull getting broad. Sealing in the practice with this gesture of introspection and protection. Stay here as many breaths as you would like to. And when you're ready, you're going to roll onto your back. I'm going to remain seated while you set up for Shavasana. As you're setting up in your Shavasana, it might be nice to give yourself a little hug of the knees and a twist side to side. And in the next minute or so, start to settle yourself in. Feet can go a little wider than hips distance and flap open. The arms are a little wider than the sides of the body, palms face up. Allow yourself to take a few full breaths here. So sweep the breath in, sweep the breath out, let the breath help to lead you toward resting. And then when you settle into resting, if it's helpful to keep that more active breath with you, you can, or you can just let the breath kind of move as it likes for a moment, allowing the breath also to take some rest and move as it likes. So I'll chant a little bit, and I have a poem to share with you at the end. So while you rest, I'll chant, and you can stay in resting as long as you want. You don't have to come out when I bring you out. One night, a man was crying, Allah, Allah. His lips grew sweet with praising, until a cynic said, "So, I've heard you calling out, but have you ever gotten any response?" The man had no answer to that. He quit praying and fell into a confused sleep. He dreamed he saw Qadir, the guide of souls, in a thick green foliage. "Why did you stop praising?" "Because I've never heard anything back." This longing you express is the return message. The grief you cry out from draws you toward union. Your pure sadness that wants help is the secret cup. Listen to the moan of a dog for its master. That whining is the connection. There are love dogs no one knows the name of. Give your life to be one of them. So that's from Rumi, translated by Coleman Barks. So you can slowly begin to deepen your breathing here.
And as the breath deepens, allow the fingers and toes to wiggle. Circle through the wrists and the ankles. Take a bigger inhale to stretch through the arms and the legs. And step your feet to the floor, bend your knees, and rock over to whichever side you prefer. Take a breath or two of transition there. And if you want to keep your eyes closed, or just keep your gaze soft, begin to help yourself back up to a seat. And find a comfy seat, let your hands come back together in prayer, Anjali Mudra. Take a moment to check in to the things that you can see and feel and touch and you know are real, to the things that you know are there that maybe you can't experience in person right now, to the unknown, and to our ability to continue to connect, to continue to reach out in maybe different ways, but to still maintain those connections. Thank you for showing up and hanging out with me in this new way today. And we'll seal our efforts with the sound of 3 ohms. Taking a deep breath in. Let your prayer rise and meet your third eye. And as we go forward, we honor the light present in all of us. Namaste. Thanks, everybody. Nice to see you. And I hope I get to see you again sometime soon. Metta meditation is on Om at Home right now. Yeah? Okay. So head to Urban Om at Home and do a metta meditation with me. Bye, everybody. Thanks again.